The Milwaukee Bucks have a superstar capable of leading a team to the NBA Finals, a supporting all-star that almost perfectly complements the alpha, and a player you could realistically envision being the third best guy on a championship team, but their roster still isn't ready to compete for an NBA title for two reasons, both reasons centered around Brook Lopez. Drop defense and no closing lineup. I know most Bucks fans are ready to bury Mike Budenholzer for his reluctance to change up his schemes, especially defensively, but to be honest, it is the only way Bud and the Bucks can play. With Brook Lopez starting at center, the Bucks can only play drop defense. Drop defense is when the player guarding the screener sinks into the paint, encouraging outside jumpers and protecting the paint at all costs. In any other defensive scheme, Brook Lopez is a liability, but Bud's drop defense made Brook Lopez an all-defensive center. Brook can't guard smaller guys on switches. Brook can't blitz pick and rolls, and Brook can't do anything to deter upper-level ball handlers from getting floaters or any shot they want in the mid-range. This inability for Brook to play any other style of defense rears its ugly head in the Bucks' matchups against top teams this season. As of recording this video, the Bucks have the 25th defensive rating against top-half offenses, but this issue has really shown itself during the playoffs. Last year, the Heat shocked the Bucks by going up 3-0, but the series was closer than the results showed. Each of the first three games went down to the wire, and down the stretch of each of those games, there was a constant theme. Dragic, Jimmy, and Bam attacked Brook Lopez. By playing drop coverage, Lopez and the Bucks were giving up easy looks to great shooters. Lopez's drop coverage is more problematic than most players in the league, however, because Lopez is an absolute dogshit rebounder. During almost every single game against the Heat, the Bucks gave up a back-breaking offensive rebound because Lopez buried himself under the basket playing drop coverage and the long rebound went to the other team. This issue also showed itself this year in the game against the Brooklyn Nets. Lopez can't play major minutes, and he especially can't play down the stretch in games against teams with elite ball handlers and shooters. Good thing the Bucks won't have to face any teams with elite ball handlers or shooters on their path to the finals.
Nets 7-0 run. Oh! Kyrie Irving has 37 points, but 2 misses on a 3-ball. We approach 4 minutes to go in the fourth. James Harden got a 3! Kawhi really has 29. Now Durant wants to get in on the act. Durant's jumper is good.
Bud has tried to switch up his schemes lately by switching and blitzing, but Brook has handicapped any ability to switch things up. The next thing you might be asking yourself is, if Lopez is such a problem defensively, why doesn't Budenholzer bench him? And that brings us to our second problem. The Bucks are too small. That's right, the team that starts Giannis and Brook Lopez is too small. I preface this by saying that Brook is unplayable down the stretch of games, and that's why this team is too small. Outside of Lopez and Giannis, the Bucks have only one guy over 6'8" on this roster that gets legit minutes, and that's Bobby Portis. BP is a solid offensive player, but he's not laterally gifted, and he can't protect the paint, so he has no role defensively, and he definitely can't make up for the defensive shortcomings a guy like Lopez has. I believe Bud wants to try and move Giannis to the 5 for stretches of games, like the Lakers use AD, but the Bucks roster isn't built for it. To start things off, Chris Middleton is a big 2, not a small 4. He's not physical enough to battle with bigger forwards, and I have 3 main concerns if the Bucks really want to use him as a small ball 4. Firstly, he'll struggle as the primary cleanup rebounder, as Giannis is now going to be the main guy challenging shots at the rim, playing that center role. My second cause for concern is that I remember the Eastern Conference Finals against the Raptors 2 years ago, where Chris's offense took a huge hit in that series. I think the amount of effort that he had to put into guarding Kawhi Leonard, and he was playing him really physically, I think that took the wind out of his sails, and like I said, his offense took a hit of it. In that series, Middleton only averaged 13 a game on poor shooting. The Bucks can't afford to lose Middleton's offense due to him exerting too much effort from playing up 2 positions, like he would be playing that 4. Lastly, if the Bucks use Chris as the 4, that probably means a guy like Drew or Pat Connaughton is playing the 3 with Dante and another guard filling up the lineup. That's going to be a really small lineup surrounding the Greek Freak. Outside of Middleton, the Bucks currently have 2 options to play at the small ball 4 next to Giannis, Torrey Craig and Thanasis Antetokounmpo. Craig is 6'7" and Thanasis is 6'6", but both guys are physical enough to play power forward in the modern era. My biggest gripe with Craig is that last season, the Nuggets began to peak as soon as Craig stopped playing. And I love Thanasty as much as the next Bucks fan, and the Bucks really might need his passion and intensity come playoff time. But you know that he's going to get that Andre Roberson treatment if he gets legit run in the playoffs. To finish off this point to the point of the Bucks being too small, I just want to point out that the Bucks currently have 5 guys 6'5" and shorter playing 19 plus minutes a game. This leads to legit stretches where a guy like Pat Connaughton is playing small forward and guarding people like Jason Tatum. In a playoff series where every point is important, the Bucks can't just give up points to other teams because they're playing too small and playing too many guards and not enough bigs. So that leaves me to say the Bucks have no legit closing 5-man lineup, and Brook Lopez's inability to play in any other style of defense really puts a cap on this team's ceilings. While I may sound all doom and gloom, I say this because I believe there is hope for the Bucks. Like I say, they have a superstar capable of leading a team to the finals, a supporting all-star who almost perfectly complements, and a third guy that you really could envision being on a championship team, but the roster isn't complete. The Bucks should be active during the trade deadline, and they should be desperate to acquire a forward or a center that would give the Milwaukee Bucks some defensive versatility. Kevin O'Connor reported that the Bucks are currently in the sweepstakes for a guy like PJ Tucker, and that's the kind of guy that the Bucks need. However, they don't have a lot of assets to give up. I know some people are ready for Budenholzer to be fired, but I wouldn't act so quickly. Don't forget that Bud is a huge reason Giannis signed his extension and is going to be a Buck for the foreseeable future. And also try and take into account how much his reluctance to change his schemes is due to the lack of a roster to change the schemes with. Bud still has his faults, and the Bucks offense isn't run exactly the way I'd like it to be run, but it's looked better with guys like Drew and Chris taking upon more ball handling duty in this year than in years past. The Bucks' biggest issue has been their defense, and that issue centers around last year's second team all-defensive center, Brook Lopez. I'm working on a video about realistic trades the Bucks could explore to fill this void on this roster, but guys, these YouTube videos take a lot of time and effort to put together. With that being said, I'll see you next time. Peace.